So you join us again on this lovely day for another update on how we're getting on with getting this Rover back on the road. So I'll just go around the car now and I'll show you a couple of things that we've been doing while we've been away. The idle has been set on the carburetors and the engine now runs absolutely brilliantly. So engine, all good. We cleaned up all the rust on the radiator bracket, made that look a bit more shiny. We've taken off the exhaust from front to back, cleaned all the rust off it, painted it, put it back on with some new sealant, and now it doesn't blow, the engine's nice and quiet. It's made a big difference. Done quite a bit of rust repair along this section of this rear window. There were 3 keyholes in there that were quite serious, and this area here had to be reshaped. That's all been welded back together with fresh steel, skimmer filler, sanded and painted. The interior's been stripped, it's all been cleaned. We've taken the rat's nest or mouse nest that was in the heater, cleaned all that out. Obviously the most obvious thing is we've taken the windscreen out. There was some questions over how solid all this lot was, and the windscreen was leaking quite badly, so that's been removed. Anything around here has all been repaired and cleaned up. The rather large hole that was here, put a new piece of steel in there, welded it up, and then filled it over and sanded it. Been very pleased with that repair. You can hardly tell that there was originally
I am a professional.
Dirty great big hole in there. We fitted an indicator stalk that actually works, so now you can use the indicators and put the lights on. Got a new earth cable for the battery, so we can actually have a battery that sits flush in the tray and be able to close the bonnet when the car's running, which would be nice. We fitted new track rod ends on both sides. We took the headlights out and cleaned all the moss that had grown on them underneath the front panel and realigned them. We've repaired the number plates around, given it a lick of paint. It was all cracked and buckled around here where someone had crashed into something. We've taken one of the calipers off. I'm going to send that off to be repaired because the bleed nipple is sheared off. Doing a bit of repair work on the bonnet. The bonnet will eventually be replaced, but this bit was so unsightly it made sense to repair it now. So I'm in the middle of just sanding that nice and flat, and then it'll look a damn sight better. Making a new piece for the rear valance. This was all rusty, come away from the boot floor and was letting in water. Yeah. You can see underneath the bumper that's been taken off, the rest of the metalwork is in pretty good shape. This end of the sill and wheel arch has all been reconstructed and welded back together. Still a bit of work to do on this door. So today I'm going to be replacing this track control arm because it is 33 years old and it's a bit past it. And conveniently we have a 33-year-old, or probably a bit younger than that, brand new one, still in the original box and the original greaseproof paper. So this is probably...
Still recommended by Austin Rover.
Oh yeah, there you go. Based on that logo then, this is probably made in the 80s. Still in the original paper. It's like archaeology. Brand new. Brand new, but 20 years old, if that makes sense. Almost there. A bit more filler here, along the bottom. Nearly there. We now have a replacement sunroof, which is in pretty good condition. You compare it to the one that we've got on the car, you can see this is totally gone. You could repair it if you really wanted to, but it's too much effort really. So very fortunately we've managed to track down one that hasn't rusted, because pretty much all of them are like that. Car's full of holes now. Come out from the windscreen. There's the sunroof itself. It's just bolted to the roof of the car. But the fabric that's actually on the visible part on the inside has come undone. The glue has finally failed after 30 years. I'll just glue that back together, clean all the rubbish off it, and then put the new plate over the top. paint's off. We'll sand it again with a finer grade, and then paint it, and then reattach it back onto the sunroof over there. Here's all the rust that's on the old one. You can peel it off with your fingers. So welcome back to the British Leyland section of the channel. We'll be working on the Rover again, and we've done a few more bits, and we're getting so close now. We're this close to getting it working. There's not too much left to do now. So I'll go around the car and I'll point out the bits and pieces that have been done, and anything that we've got left to be getting on with. But we're hoping a couple of weeks, maybe a week or two, and this thing will have an MOT. So fingers crossed. One of the first things that we did recently was sorted out the power steering, drained all the contaminated fluid out of it, put some new fluid in, lot to lot, usual stuff, and it now actually has a bit of power steering. Nowhere near as easy as modern power steering to operate, but it's better than no power steering at all. The water hoses that go to the back of the engine that burst last time have been replaced. They're all cleaned up and brand new, so the cooling system shouldn't spring a leak while we're driving it. Done more welding under the front, various bits on the sills, on the inner wings. All this has been painted, so it shouldn't rust. Nice and shiny. That's just been painted with hammerite. It's looking a lot better. We've also put some new brake lines on it because they were a bit crispy. Don't really want to rely on 30-year-old hoses for your braking system, so they've been replaced. The bottom of this sill has all been fixed up and replaced, so all of this is new steel. This was all cut out, welded back in. It's come out very nicely. Obviously it needs a bit of paint, but better than having a load of crispy, rusty, nasty MOT failure, horrible stuff. Again, under all of the arches, they've all been cleaned. Any rust has been taken out and cut away. New metal's been put in. It's all been hammerited, and the whole car has got loads of wax oil in it. So it shouldn't rust, but we're not entirely convinced, but it shouldn't rust. It will be getting new tyres, because obviously these are well old and will probably burst when you try and drive it. I don't even know what Woosung are. Never heard of them before. A massive hole in the rear valence has all been replaced. I think in the last clip you could see that there were gaps here where all the rust had been cut out. New metal's been put in, put to the right shape, welded in, painted again, wax oiled, painted some more, and hammerited. So fingers crossed it won't rust. More of the same on this sill. All the other rusty metal's been cut out. Ignore all this stuff. This is just filler dust that's washed down the side of the car from work's been done up top. The hole that was in this door has been cut out, new piece been put in, repaired, just needs a bit of paint. But, and again, this wheel arch again, all cleaned up, rust taken off, painted. Here's the other side, under the front. Bit of work was done on this wing as well. But pretty much all the bodywork now and all the structural stuff is all repaired, welded up. This car almost officially isn't rusty anymore. There's very little rot left on it. I mentioned the windscreen last time. This is holding up really nicely. We've had quite a lot of rain recently and there's been no leaks, which is great news. Because obviously as soon as water gets inside there, rust happens. So well happy to get a windscreen that actually works. Battery's actually in there properly now. New leads and stuff so you can put it in the right way. A few bits have been cleaned up. The airbox has been painted just to make it look a bit nicer. I fixed the switch for the... There's these weird under bonnet lights. I don't know if they envisaged that it would break down a lot during the night and you'd need these to see what you were doing, but there's a little switch in the corner over there, so I fixed that. Got those working. The replacement sunroof's in. that isn't leaking either, and it's nice to actually look at something that isn't rusty. It's really weird to see this car in a not rusty state, considering how many little bits and pieces needed doing on it a few months ago. I've fixed the horn. Pretty sure that's not original. That's a rubbish horn, but you do need one. Pretty much all of the interior is back in now, so you can see the epic brownness. Check it out. This was a real nightmare to put back together. It took me and Ryan the best part of 2 afternoons to put all the dash and everything back in, but everything's working. We've got a couple of replacement bits. This piece up here has been replaced because the one we had previously was all split. This has been replaced, the one we had was all faded. We've got an epic radio down there. Got a new clock, well not a new clock, but a clock in better condition. And we've also sourced a new dashboard because this one's split here and it's all lifted up in the corner there. It's not really repairable, so we have another one that will go in at some point. And the fuel gauge actually works, which is nice. Look at that. You can actually see how much fuel's in it. That wasn't working previously. It's got its 3rd fuel pump now, which is actually working. So fingers crossed we won't have any more fuel pump problems. But seems okay so far. Here's the new dashboard. It's better condition than the old one, so that's as good as anything. They're quite difficult to find. You can see how long the car that this was in had been sitting. But the car it was in has since died, and we've got hold of the dashboard for it. Just a minor thing, but we managed to source a blanking plate for where there shouldn't be a switch down there. They're almost impossible to get hold of. We've got super functional electric windows that all work. You see the epic centre console. We've got epic radio. That's not yet wired in. But yeah, should be able to drive it soon. This brake caliper's been replaced, and all the brakes have been serviced and bled, so it actually stops. So we're getting pretty close. It's got brakes, engine's good, fuel pump works, all the rust has been fixed, all the structural stuff's been fixed. Suspension was pretty good when we got the car, we haven't had to touch that. So hopefully it'll pass an MOT. We're taking the filler cap off and sending it off to the paint shop so they can try and match this colour for us. Obviously there's a bit of repair work that need doing there. There's no rust, it's just purely cosmetic. But we'd like to try and get all the repaired areas to actually match the car as it is at the moment, and then sometime in the future it'll all get taken apart again and resprayed. But at the moment this car's kind of needed, because the car that's being used at the moment desperately needs to come off the road and have some work done to it. So it's crunch time for this one really, because otherwise Ryan won't have any way of getting to work. So I'll leave you with that on this beautiful summer day, and hopefully the next video we'll actually be driving this thing.